besides Nick, and it is podcast 62. Today we're going to be recapping the NBA and NHL playoffs and then giving draft grades for all 32 NFL teams, grading how every pick and the entire draft went for them rounds 1 through 7. I think we got some hot takes and some pretty good analysis, so can't wait to talk about that. We're going to start with the less exciting playoffs, I guess, with the NBA. I think the NHL's had some bigger upsets and some more exciting stuff. But starting with the NBA, we already know that Miami beat Milwaukee in the first round, and they're currently up 1-0 on New York. Probably will be 2-0 after night, considering Brunson and Randall are game time decisions for New York. Philly did actually end up beating Boston in Game 1 without Joel Embiid. You know what? Not worried. The Celtics are going to sun them in 6. I'm not too worried about it. Let Embiid come back, whatever it is. James Harden did play incredibly well, though. I think he put up 48 points last night. He tied his playoff career high or something.
We also just have to put together a good defensive, game plan.
I don't know what's up with the Celtics and not being able to guard guards in the playoffs right now, but it's starting to really annoy me. Annoy me. They couldn't guard Trey last round, and now they're struggling with James Harden in Game 1. Tatum looked great, but besides the point, they didn't get the W, so it is what it is.
I mean, the big thing is to take away for me was the fact that the Celtics lost, not just on this, but basically at the end on Malcolm Brogdon's only turnover of the game was really bad. Otherwise, they're not losing that game, probably.
That's fair.
At that point, they were up 3, I think, or whatever it was, or at least they were up by 1 at least. I know that. And they threw it right into Maxi's hands. Maxi goes down for the slam. They get the ball back. And I think that was the one before James Harden threw. I think it was. So a couple things happened back and forth. James Harden step back over Marcus Smart. That was Horford. Bangs that home, and then Celtics still have a chance. Only down 1 at that point, or down 2, whatever it was, to score, at least tie it and go to overtime or win. And Tatum gets called for the foul, and they go up 3. So I mean,
it's a tough loss, but it's a tough loss to take. But it wasn't a loss that necessarily concerns me. I don't like the fact that we now have to play 3 games on the road in Philly, and they've kind of stolen the home court advantage at that. With Joel Embiid coming back at some point in the series, probably. Denver is up 2-0 on Phoenix, which is a shocking development to me, but they're still Phoenix is still going to win in 6, so it doesn't really matter.
LOL. It's not stop this madness.
You think I'm kidding?
I know you're not kidding, but I still know you'll be wrong. So
I'm confident. Yeah, okay, guys.
I'm confident that my NBA champion pick is still going to be dominant against the Suns and be dominant against either LA or Golden State. It don't matter, and then win the NBA champions.
You're not
happening.
Win the NBA champions. Yeah.
Yes,
they're gonna win the NBA champions.
They will.
We are the NBA champions.
Wow. Okay, that's huge development as we're talking about the NBA. Joel Embiid has won the NBA MVP award. So, breaking news: Joel Embiid has won the NBA MVP, which we will talk about after.
Good for him.
After this NBA playoff recap segment, because that's big news. We should talk about that. Since we have last talked to you about the NBA, the Golden State Warriors have defeated the Sacramento Kings in 7 games to advance to play the Lakers in round 2. I think that'll be a wonderful series. We get to see LeBron and Steph face off probably for the last time in the NBA playoffs. Very unlikely they meet again. Maybe I'm wrong, but that Denver
we'll see.
I'm kind of sad that Sacramento didn't advance, but we all knew that it would be a tough series. I think I called Sacramento in 7. We all had that series going to 7 games, I believe, except for maybe Steve. I think you had 6, right? You said 6.
Yep.
But great series, really good basketball. Sad that De'Aaron Fox broke his index finger. Great basketball by both sides, and good win by Golden State in Game 7. Steph put up 50 points, legendary performance. Steph is that dude. That's really all I have to say about that.
Steph's the only person to ever put up a 50-pointer
in a Game 7.
That's crazy. And this is why I gotta say it, because Kyle said it in our chat. Kyle, I would not build around Trae Young. Because Trae thinks he's Steph. He's not.
And he's not
And
Steph.
he'll never carry that anywhere.
Okay.
Bro, the
So-
dog is adorable. Hold on. Can we just take a minute?
Wanna see the puppy?
Can we take a minute and see the puppy? Yeah, look how adorable that puppy is.
Is this your puppy or is this one you're just
Yes,
watching?
this one's actually mine. The one in the background is not actually mine.
Oh.
I need
Just
to
brand new one.
clarify something here because
What's up?
Austin
What's up?
just said Austin. I need to like explain my reasoning
Yes.
as to why I think that.
Oh my lord, boys.
When I mean build around a piece, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to be the one and only guy. That's not like what I'm considering building around. I just mean they'll be like a key part of it. And I think
Well,
Trae
that's
Young-
different though.
That's not
still building around him. You're building around him being
No.
a key part of it, not being the number one.
No. If you're building
Well, I'm-
around somebody, they are the number one.
Yes.
Like the
At least
Celtics,
that's
How
what
I'm
everybody goes by.
interpreting.
The
That's
Celt-
how I'm
That's what-
interpreting.
that's
what
how
that
the
video is
general
about.
population denotes that. Like that's how the.
Well, I'm weird, Jake.
I don't
We-
care,
this should
dude.
not be news.
I'm fine
Like-
with you interpreting it that
We
way.
all
You
knew
can't-
that.
But you can't send a video when we all know what Calvin
What?
was saying, and then be
Yeah.
like, "No, that's not how I interpret." It's like that's what the
But
video
that's-
was.
It's,
But
I
that's-
don't think it should be a straight no either, though. Like if we're going to interpret
I
it that
do.
way, like he is, I think there should be a little bit up for debate about it.
They've already
just
built
don't-
around Trey, and they can't be.
It's true.
They can't be better than an 8 seed.
They
Like they
went to the
get.
conference finals
that
with
team
good
around
teams.
him is awful. You give him Jalen Brunson, Luca, or
Bro, they went and got a DeJounte
Kyrie.
Murray. What else more do you want?
More. DeJounte Murray isn't enough with Trey. You need at least one more piece. You need a big three.
Plus, John Collins should be producing, but because Trey Young refuses to pass on the ball, he doesn't.
Fair point.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's fair. You got me there. All right, touche.
And then they got a backup center who I really like, but I'm forgetting his name right now.
Mm-hmm.
But looking forward to the LA Golden State series. Again, I think it's going to be a good one. I think it'll probably go 7. I think this could go to the distance too.
I think without if AD shows up like he did, what was it was it game
4.
1 and 4? No, I think it was 5. Either way, there were 2 games
Yeah.
where he scored over 30, and 2 games.
Yeah,
where
if he does
scored,
that.
where he scored like 10 points in each, and he went 8 for 27 in those 2 combined.
Yeah.
yeah.
If the other AD shows up, it's over in 5.
I don't think
So I
it
think
hangs on AD, to be honest with you. I think it hangs on the other 3, meaning D'Angelo, Rui, Austin Reeves. And if Vanderbilt shows up, that could be a big one.
The reason
Yeah.
I'm saying it hinges for me on AD is because I think the other ones play a part. But if AD goes out and gives you 30, they're winning
Yeah.
those games because who's stopping him inside? Green's not doing anything with
And neither
AD.
is Kevin Looney.
If,
Neither is Kevin
right,
Looney.
if the true AD shows up, who
Yeah.
just doesn't care and goes out and manhandles people. So
I
that
think
one-
typically,
then you have LeBron. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think typically that kind of makes sense for the most part especially against the Grizzlies, which I want to talk about the god awful Brooks for a sec, but against a team like Golden State that has a lot of playoff experience and that can have a pretty solid bench, that's a team that you want to be more balanced as a whole. No individual players can really do much.
their
think in that
bench is
case-
actually god awful this year.
Who? The Warriors or the
Is that what you were saying? The Warriors bench?
Warriors or the Lakers bench?
I think both are pretty bad, but
The
at least
Warriors-
the Warriors, their starting 5 when they're all on the court together are very, very good.
It was something like
Fuck.
with
Oh shit! Sorry.
Steph.
But-
What was it? I saw the stat earlier. I forget how much it was, but it was a ridiculous amount of how much better they were with Steph on the court.
Yeah. No,
Which
against
makes
the
sense, obviously.
I think against the Kings they were like plus 50 with Steph on the court and negative a ridiculous amount. But I don't think the Lakers bench is that bad since the trade deadline, but that's neither here nor there. Before we move into the NHL playoff recap, let's just talk about Joel Embiid being the NBA MVP a little bit. I mean, I think it's as expected. I think that's probably where it should have gone if it wasn't going to go to Giannis and or the Joker. Embiid was the other person in that running, and I think Embiid has deserved it for a while, so I'm fine with it.
Yes.
I think that's probably the right call here. I know that Kyle's going to disagree because he wants it to be Jokic, but... And probably because Jokic is an unathletic white guy just like Kyle, so...
Damn, shots fired, Jake. But
Bang,
I-
bang!
that's-
Maybe there's some favoritism of people voting, but we won't get into that.
Yikes.
That doesn't exist at all.
Oh, my
I do
lord.
think Embiid deserves it, so I don't hate it. Like
Yeah.
I thought all three this year really did deserve it. So I don't think I think no matter which way it went, it would have been like a fair.
What's
choice.
sad is that if this is like 2 years ago, Tatum has an MVP on lock with the season that he had, and so does like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander and multiple other people who put up over 30. But
Shea, I think could be an MVP like in a couple years.
if that team gets better and they start winning more, yes. Which obviously they're going to. They have like 25 first-round picks in 5 years, and Chet hasn't played yet. So,
Now I wonder, what are some of like your dark horses for MVP?
like now or next year?
Oh, right now.
I mean, Joel Embiid already won it, so it depends on what context you're asking.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just because of the playoffs, but I think in terms of value, it's hard to really think of value other than somebody like Jimmy Butler, especially on Miami, considering when they have a game they need to win, it is all on his back. And he's been doing this at least the last 2 playoffs. He's been the reason why they go so far. But I know it's a regular season. Yeah.
Or 4. No, they were eliminated in the first round by the Bucks 3 years ago, but they went to the championship in the bubble. Yeah, okay.
In the bubble. Okay.
Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. Also, you're trying. Narcissus is trying to get out of her cage again. But but I think in terms of value, somebody like Butler, yeah, he's been phenomenal for Miami. But
You know who I think is also a dark horse MVP
For next
candidate?
year? Yeah, go ahead.
For next year, Jalen Brunson.
No.
Like, I don't think he's going to get it because I don't think he is like a pure superstar like the others. But I do think he's an extreme dark horse just because of what he's brought to this Knicks team. Like he's brought so much energy and star power to this team that is worth the contract that he got. That a lot of people didn't think he was worth it, and he has shut them up. So I that's what I'm meaning by like dark horse. Like obviously compared to Embiid and
I mean,
Jokic
Ja
and
could get
Tatum,
one. Ja could get one.
Ja could also go.
If Zion ever stayed healthy, I think he could get one, but he can't
I don't think
stay
he
healthy.
ever will get it because he can't stay healthy. Like
That's the
his
thing.
No,
Like
it's-
he'd have to stay healthy.
He
And
has
in
to do what
shape.
LeBron does, and he doesn't care.
What's up?
He has to do what LeBron does and spend money on his body like
And he doesn't.
ridiculous
Yeah.
amounts. He doesn't, like,
Yeah.
these
Bro,
guys
I can't
don't
even
care.
blame him. Nola food is so good. I can't even
Yeah, I
blame
mean,
him.
that's fair.
I can't
But, like,
even blame him.
I'm sorry. After that, what was it? After his first season, he came back. Then I'm like, dude, what? You're an NBA player, dude. You can't show up like that.
he's trying to be shaped like a wisdom tooth. Love it.
Goodness.
Well, let's move on to the NHL playoffs because we got a lot to get through today. I'm going to start in the Western Conference solely because I got the entire side of this bracket
Everybody's
correct.
copying me, by the way.
Nobody was
Everybody
copying you. I had the
copying
Kraken
me.
already win. I had the Kraken
went
winning before
first.
you even did it.
I went first.
It was a mix of
Whatever.
a copy and a legitimate thing.
I was the only
Well-
one I think who didn't pick them, but besides the point, go ahead, Jake, keep going.
Yeah, fuck you, Kyle.
Oh, we expect that at this point.
No. The Kraken beat the Avalanche in a 7-game series. That is a surprise because obviously the Avalanche were the 1 seed. Both 1 seeds are out, by the way. Like, gotta love hockey. And the Avalanche did win the Stanley Cup last year, so the Kraken are actually the first team in NHL history to have their first round win come against a reigning Stanley Cup champion. Impressive. The Dallas Stars beat the Wild 4-2. The Knights rolled over the Jets 4-1, and the Oilers beat the Kings 4-2. When you have Connor McDavid, it's kind of easy. Let's start with the middle of these the Eastern Conference because I don't want to talk about the teams up top and up bottom yet.
Oh, hold on. But before we actually move to the East, can we at least talk about these Western teams? Because like,
I mean, you
some of them
can.
are, like-
I mean, you can. I don't think
them
there's
are
anything.
good.
I don't think it's surprising at all. But yeah, go ahead. I mean, the
think-
Kraken's a little surprising, but
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
like, you have to give a nod to the Kraken, because I do think their win over the Avalanche is not being talked about enough, solely because of the upset that happened on the other side.
we're
of the
not talking
Kraken,
about
which
that right
we'll
now.
get- Well, I know. I'm just saying, the Kraken's like upset over the defending Stanley Cup champions, the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, the Kraken's 2nd year in existence, all of which they put together and were able to beat
Roll
to
Kraken.
win in 7 games.
At least we got a team to root for.
Yeah.
Bruh, I told you, I've
Um,
adopted Seattle as my second city besides the Seahawks. So like the Sea Dragons and the Kraken, I'm rolling with them.
Oh, we only got the Kraken now.
We only have the Kraken now, yeah.
I'm not like super shocked the Kraken did it because like I like saw them like going not far into the playoffs, but like far into the series. But I am shocked that the Avalanche didn't pull it off. Like I thought they'd be able to fight off the Kraken. So like, congrats to you guys for getting that series right. Well done.
Oh, thanks, man.
Back into the finals, baby.
Kraken's taking the Stanley Cup home, baby.
Let's go Stars, because they're my team to win the Stanley Cup this year. So let's go Stars.
I've got the Kraken
Anyway.
beating.
Oh, good.
Let's
You have a
go.
realistic
Winning?
A Dallas team winning ever. What? That's not allowed.
I had the Stars winning.
Let's talk about how the Maple Leafs have finally won a first-round playoff
Dude,
series.
19 years, man.
Bro, how many times have they made the playoffs in 19 years that they just couldn't get out of the first round?
A lot.
It was like 10 of them, right?
Yes, 10.
That's
Here's the thing,
sad.
though. I think to counter their curse, they had to put all of their. I think the NHL gods had to put all of their bad luck into one team. So I think I blame the Maple Leafs for screwing everything up. But anyways,
Toronto wins
I
4-2.
yield my time.
I love how Toronto celebrated like they won the Stanley Cup. But you know what? Good for them.
Bro,
They
good on them.
Dude, they
Toronto
beat
doesn't
the
have a lot to
curse.
cheer for.
But
So
like Toronto, I was watching like videos and I'm like, wow, you guys really are celebrating. Like you just won
mean,
the whole thing.
I
they don't
mean,
have
can
NBA
you even
playoffs,
blame
so
them,
they can
dude?
use it.
No, I can't blame them. Like, I can't blame them at all. So,
I mean,
but I just find it hilarious.
the other not ridiculous series here is that Carolina beat the Islanders. Fun fact, I got the entire Western Conference correct in our bracket and the entire Eastern Conference incorrect.
50-50.
That's really sad.
I
Literally.
don't remember how many I got right. I think I got 3 or 4.
That's hilarious. Carolina beating the Islanders isn't a shock. I mean, we all know the Carolina's really good.
I thought the Islanders would put up more of a fight.
So did I. I really did. I had them
thought
winning
that-
that series.
I did too. I thought the Islanders would really put up more of a fight. So that's shocking to me that because the Hurricanes are so beat up right now.
Like it's
And I
not.
was like pretty shocked.
I mean, it is what it is. Anything
Yeah.
can happen in hockey. We all know that. But Kyle, I'm gonna yield to you for the Rangers series before we get to the other one. I'm not even gonna say the name right now. I'm not even gonna say the name right now.
All right.
Yeah.
So first off, great series between the Devils and Rangers. That being said, this fucking team likes to break my heart. Man. This fucking team goes up 2-0 on the series, comes back home, craps the bed, completely shits on themselves, all over themselves. They don't know how to play the sport. It's tied 2-2. Comes back to New Jersey, gets absolutely shit on again, shut out. Now it's 3-2 coming back to New York. Rangers look like a fucking hockey team again, dominate the Devils, decide to actually play, and then don't show up for Game 7. The one game that fucking matters, and you're nowhere to be found?
Yeah, they got blown
How
out
do-
4-0.
How do you get shut out in a Game 7? How does that happen?
What was the score?
4-0.
4-0.
It was bad. It was bad.
How does this happen? Like, I'm not as upset that the Rangers lost. It's how they lost. You should not lose a Game 7 by being shut out. That should not happen.
Kyle, I think I can one up you.
No. You cannot
win
win it.
win it.
No. You guys lost in overtime.
No, hold on a minute.
No.
I think
I'm
I
just
can.
saying-
I
hold
think
on.
I can one up you real quick.
You cannot one up. This is awful.
I
Awful,
can.
Awful.
You wanna know-
showing by this team. Also, to top it off, Madison Square Garden's charging over $500 for upper bowl tickets in round 1. What the hell are you doing? You're charging $600 for round 2 for the Knicks games. What are you doing?
They probably knew they were going to get
Square
eliminated,
Garden
so they
is-
wanted to get more money.
Oh man.
Madison Square Garden is taking advantage of Knicks fans right now because they're actually good for the first time in who knows how long. Like, what has it been? 10 years since this team can actually like kind of compete, really?
When was
Over
when
that.
did when was Miller there? 14? Was it 13 or 14?
Yeah.
So yeah, a decade.
Yeah, I guess it's 13, 14,
Over
like a
that.
decade. I was like,
It was
this
a
is
decade.
ridiculous that they're charging this much. Absolutely ridiculous.
So I can
But
one
anyway,
up
I
you, Kyle.
yield.
I can.
You cannot one up me.
I
You guys
can.
lost in overtime.
So
It
here's the
doesn't
thing.
count.
You want to know what's worse than losing a series when you're tied 2-2? being the greatest regular season team ever, being up 3-1 on the worst team in the playoffs,
Biggest frauds.
having a lead in Game 5 and losing it, having a lead in Game 6 and
on.
losing it, having a
Being
lead in
3-1.
Game 7
Game
with a minute and losing it in overtime.
Less than a minute, by the
And
way.
all
Yeah.
by being up 3-1 with all of those leads as well. Every single one was a closeout game.
You know what? Good for the Florida Panthers. I'm gonna leave it at that. The
And you let a
Bruins.
warm weather team win. That's even worse.
I am
Yep.
I am disappointed. I am not mad. I am disappointed in the Bruins.
So
By
I do,
disappointed-
I'm so disappointed.
Miserable.
I really am.
I do just want to say that a season's success should not only be determined by
It's not.
winning a trophy.
It's not.
You should
is
look
for
at
me.
the success of a team by exceeding expectations, which both the Bruins and the Rangers did. So I would classify both teams' seasons as a success. Both of them exceeded their expectations. Bruins.
Here's
there's
the problem
way
with that.
In hell, no way in hell that anyone could have looked at the Bruins and said, "Oh yeah, they're going to become the greatest regular season team of all time."
So here's the problem with that analysis there, Kyle, is that expectations change over time. So when they became the greatest regular season team to ever exist in the history of the NHL, the expectation became championship or bust. If you want to look at it from the beginning of the regular season, yeah, sure, you're
Yeah,
probably
that's what I'm
accurate.
counting.
But I'm
Not
telling you,
accurate. I
no,
am
no.
accurate.
when you get to the playoffs and you're the greatest regular season team to ever exist, to ever play the game of hockey in its
Here's the
over
point,
100-year
though.
existence, you are
regular season.
you are
champion.
expected to win a championship. So that's where the disappointment comes in.
Or at least
Well, you
make it
almost
through
had that
round
nowadays
one.
with Tom Brady. It was like, okay, you're gonna win. It was like the expectation.
I mean, literally, this playoff series for the Bruins is under the 07 Patriots series, but it is up there in the most disappointing things to happen in Boston sports since I've been alive.
Yes.
I
See, okay,
go ahead,
Kyle,
man.
here's the
No,
thing.
Go ahead. Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, if you're a fan, what do we all actually care about? I can't brag to people about, like, well, I'm not really a Bruins fan anyway, so I don't really care about hockey. But, like, let's say it was the Patriots, right? They go and they're undefeated like they were in that season. And
You're not
They- they
bragging
lose.
about being undefeated.
I'm going to be like, yeah, whatever. Because at the end,
mean, at the
everybody's
end-
going to throw it back in your face and go, yeah, but you lost the biggest moment.
I was gonna say,
That's the
literally, nobody remembers the fact that the Patriots were 16-0 in that regular season.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
'Cause it doesn't matter. Now that you
Like
judged
it matters.
No,
Wait,
it
wait a
doesn't.
second.
It matters,
Hold
but nobody cares.
let me- Yeah, let me finish.
Sure. Why?
Only
That
thing,
makes no sense.
look at every sports fan, every sports city, all of those things. What do they all care about? What do everybody always talks about? You can say it's wrong, but it's just the fact of the matter is people only care about championships. Why? Because I can go buy merch for a ring. I can go buy a hat. I can go
You
do
can
this,
buy
I go
regular
buy-
season merch.
No one cares about regular season merch.
Really? Then why do they sell it?
In,
You talking
in-
about just a jersey? I can wear
in
that
the
all
words
year,
of
sure.
Angel Reese and now
Why
Haley
does it
Van
say
Lith.
division champions, regular season champions? You can buy merch for it.
You
right
wanna know
now.
what we?
Man,
You want to know what we?
almost nobody
Yeah,
does.
but I'm
Why
Also,
why do they
that-
sell it?
right now.
That's the
Well, I
equivalent
guess-
of the Colts hanging a banner that says AFC Championship participant. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andrew.
It's basically I love seeing that NBA championship shirt more than I like seeing that NBA regular season winners, because that just
Right.
does not achieve anything for me until they have that.
And let
That
me say it from this point too, right? So, Kyle, I don't remember. I think you did sports in high school, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you were any of your teams went far or whatever. I was on a team, went undefeated, won our conference championship. That's all great. We go to the state finals, lose 2-0. I do not care. It's not that I didn't care about the rest of the season after that, but in my mind, whenever I look back on the season, I'm just I die.
You're
a little.
obsessed over
I literally cannot be like dying over that last moment, because like if we had lost earlier in the playoffs, or if we had like not gone undefeated, it wouldn't be the same. It's the fact that we were undefeated, we won our championship, like everything was going perfectly. You lose that last moment, and honestly, I've looked back and said, knowing from the previous years where I lost earlier in the playoffs, those don't hurt like that one does, because you're at the cusp where you literally can taste it, and then it just
So,
moved out of your hand.
Here's
It
what it
doesn't
comes
matter.
down to for me, right? So would you rather take a 16-0 regular season, get to the Super Bowl and lose, or do you take a 9-7 regular season and win a title? I'm taking the
Definitely a
winning a
title.
title every time.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
so
prob-
it's not
I
that the
think
regular
both, to
season
be
doesn't
honest.
matter. It's just that the title matters that much more.
And as a New York fan, you should understand that, because that's all you guys ever do.
Oh.
You go 8-9, 9-7.
Yo, hold on a minute.
So that's fair.
You're a Yankees fan, bro. You can't even talk at this point.
I can talk about that because they suck even worse, so it's okay.
To be fair about the Yankees, they're so hurt right now. But that's it. That's
We'll talk about that probably next week.
Let's talk about some of these series that are coming up in the NHL, and we'll move to the NHL draft stuff. Kraken versus Stars. We all know Kyle wants the Stars. I think most of us are on the side of the Kraken. Objectively, the Stars are the better team, but roll Kraken. The Knights versus the
Avalanche.
The Knights versus the Oilers series is going to be incredibly fun. I think the Knights are the better team, but the Oilers have the two better players. So Draisaitl and McDavid are going to go nuts. The Knights are the better team. I think they're going to get through that series. But we really have to start questioning how great Connor McDavid is if he can't get a title to Edmonton soon. Let's just talk about that. No.
Stop it. Stop it. Oh my God.
I'm trolling.
I mean,
that is an absolute troll, by the way.
Matter?
That's a troll, by the way. Florida versus Toronto. I'm going to take Toronto. I mean, maybe they go back and do exactly what their coach said they were going to do and dismantle the Maple Leafs one game at a time, whatever that quote was. Legendary, all-time quote now.
Was that
all-time
3-1 or what?
No, that was at the beginning of the series.
That was the Panthers said that before the Bruins series ever started.
So, all-time quote now. All-time quote.
Did they necessarily do dismantle it game by game? Not exactly, but yeah.
Yes, they did.
Kinda,
yeah, they did.
After they went up 3-1, yes. Through the first 4 games, it wasn't looking that way at all.
The Hurricanes versus the Devils series, the Devils are still young, but the Hurricanes are banged up, so we'll see how that series goes. I think the Devils have a legitimate shot at getting through that series, but solely because the Hurricanes are really banged up at the moment. And, I mean, that's really all we have. I think that's all I have left to say about the NHL playoffs. Anybody else?
Suck it, Rangers.
Yeah, fuck you, Kyle. After what you said about the Bruins after Game 7, fuck you, Kyle.
I will
Is
say
the one time Kyle gets something right and has something over us Boston fans, it immediately blows up in his face because his team falls apart.
So funny. President's Trophy curse is real.
It's not real.
It is real.
There's no such thing as curses.
It is real. Until somebody does it and wins the title, Kyle can't be wrong. So I gotta give him that.
Whatever.
It hasn't happened in over 10 years. So, like, last time President's Trophy team won was 10 years ago. And that was in a shortened season, too. So, if you want to do, like, a full NHL season, that hasn't happened in 15 years.
It's the same as the Madden curse until Brady broke it. So
you should care, Jake.
I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
President's Trophy curse.
Okay,
moving on.
I'm ready to move on to the NFL draft. Last Thursday through Saturday, the NFL held its 7-round NFL rookie draft. And if you don't know, I'm a junkie for the NFL draft. I absolutely love it. I watched.
Junkie for the NFL.
This is true. I watched all but the ending of round 1 in full because I am absolutely insane, and I absolutely love NFL drafts. I love college football. I love scouting when it comes to prospects coming into the NFL. As you guys probably have watched our top 10 quarterback evaluations videos and our videos on all the quarterbacks, make sure to go check those out if you haven't watched them because they're absolutely wonderful content. Some great analysis by me and Kyle for most of them. We're going to do this in alphabetical order, starting with the Bears all the way down through, I believe the last team is the Vikings. I am correct. So the way they would pop up in Madden, just because it was the easiest way to do it. And I'm going to start with the Bears. The way the grading works is an A is a great draft, a B is an above average draft, a C is an average draft, a D is below average, and F, you just fucked up. It's a bad draft. So don't crucify me when a lot of teams get C's because these are average drafts.
Yep.
Am I looking at it wrong? Because I see S, love it.
Next tab. Next sheet. There's 2 sheets.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I requested.
I gave you the access.
Who the heck put the New York Rangers sticker in there?
I don't know, but it's leaving. It was definitely Kyle. I don't know why I was there.
I promise that was not me. I swear.
I don't know who did that, but honestly, I don't love it.
I promise it was not me.
I think it was, but that's fine.
It was not me.
Yeah.
I'm innocent.
Let's start with the Bears, and I'm giving their draft a C+. I love their second and fourth rounds with Gervin Dexter and Tyreek Stevenson. I love Roshan Johnson. I think he adds a lot to the backfield, and I love Tyler Scott as the fourth option in that offense. I absolutely hate the Darnell Wright pick. I fucking hate it. They had Peter Skoronski and Broderick Jones on the board, and they went for offensive tackle 4. Plus, they traded down one spot and could have had Jalen Carter. If they had taken Jalen Carter or any one of the other offensive tackles, this is probably a B to a B plus draft. I absolutely hate the Darnell Wright pick. I also really like the Noah Sewell pick. I really do. I can't wait to see him play his brother.
I love that pick too. The Noah Sewell pick. I just think he is a little bit more explosive coming off the interior linebacker position. I think he adds a lot more of a aspect to their run defense, especially goal line defense wise. He's been pretty great at Oregon, and honestly, I think that's a big snag there for him. For the Bears in general, just to be able to get someone like that.
He's a very good off-ball linebacker. I like the way he played at Oregon. I know that a lot of people, or at least some people I watch very regularly, were not as high on Noah Sewell as I was. But we're gonna move right into the Bengals. I gave it a B-. I basically like everything they did except for Myles Murphy. I'm not as high on Myles Murphy as a lot of other people are. I think he lacks some of the bend that you need to be a really good pass rusher in the NFL. And there were other guys on the board, i.e. Nolan Smith, who I think are going to be better. But DJ Turner, Jordan Battle, those guys in the second and third round, I think you got really good value. You got a good corner and a really good safety to add to the back end of that defense. So it's a B- draft. They got better. I don't like everything they did. It's about above average. I really liked it.
I think Myles Murphy is in there because of the fact that both their edges are on really high-end contract deals right now, and I think they might be trying to offload them come the start of the season, and I think that's the reason why they kind of wanted to pick up a new young.
I understand going
edge.
Going edge. I just think Nolan Smith would have been better.
I think so too, but I understand Myles Murphy's aspects of where he might fill in on that roster for them.
Mm-hmm.
He is playing a little bit more of a run stopper in that edge position. I think he plays a little bit more run defense than he does pass rushing, which I kind of wish they went for a little bit more pass rush for the Bengals,
especially in the AFC.
But I get it because you're in the AFC North. You're dealing with a mobile quarterback in Lamar Jackson. You got Nick Chubb in the Browns. You got a so-so Najee Harris still in Pittsburgh who could go off in some games or could not. So I understand why they went with Myles Murphy in this aspect, but I kind of wish they did go for a little bit more of a high-end pass rusher.
Yeah, I think it's.
Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I think especially in the AFC, I mean, at some point, every team's really got to go for a top corner and or a top pass rusher at this point because the quarterback talent you're going up against, you really need to be able to bull rush the quarterback. Also, at the same time, I mean, you may look back at Tampa Bay when they won the Super Bowl. The reason why their defense did so well is because of their pass rush. And a really good pass rush can definitely mask a not-so-great secondary than a not-so-great secondary with a really good pass rush because corners can only cover for so long. So the more time you eliminate also brings up a lot more time for turnovers as well. So I like the Bengals draft. I mean, they could have moved up like Buffalo did, pick up a really good tight end that could have helped out at the same time. I mean, especially if you get yourself a hybrid tight end, extra help to block for Joe Burrow is great, but also having another pass catcher. I mean, some guy right underneath. I mean, especially you can stretch the field so easily with those receivers. But, I mean, yeah, defense is good because they lost some good pieces.
It's funny that you mentioned the Bills, Steve, because I also gave them a B-. A lot of people are higher on this draft than I am. I understand Dalton Kincaid is a pass catcher. I don't understand taking a tight end like Dalton Kincaid in round 1 if you're the Bills because you already have Dawson Knox.
I was gonna just say they should have gone interior linebacker. I think on their first round pick, to replace Maine Edmonds, who went to the Bears. I think that was a big filler that they needed to use on their first round pick.
I think they did a good job of that with round 3 with Dorian Williams, though, which
do,
brings up the
I
draft.
do too.
Yeah.
I do too, but I just kind of wish the Bills did go a little bit more on their linebacker and defense, not offense, because you just re-signed Dawson Knox to like what, 4-year contract deal.
Yeah.
And you're now bringing in a rookie tight end to sit behind him, who probably, depending on how the Bills decide to play, I really just don't think they play with a 2 tight end set.
I mean, 2 tight end set. I mean, you get some extra blockers so that Josh Allen can run more and put his body on the line. Watch that be the case. I kind of like maybe some offensive line help so that Josh doesn't have to run as much. She can be a little more presence in the pocket. I mean, picking up potentially another wide receiver maybe makes a little bit more sense, especially with they have Dawson Knox, or even just going all in on. I think they should have gone for pass rush, especially to help Von Miller, because he's I think we've seen Von Miller is very much like a 3rd or 4th down pass rusher.
I think more linebacker and secondary help is what
They had
should have
Nolan
gone
Smith
for.
sitting there and they didn't take him.
That's my problem with the Bengals one too. Yeah.
Is that like they had these guys on the edge and linebacker positions that they could have taken to help bolster them, but like the Bills D line is pretty strong. They got Ed Oliver, Von Miller, Greg Rousseau. Those guys are pretty talented guys, and they're still like, besides Von Miller, the rest of them are still pretty young, still on some pretty young deals. So I mean, like, I didn't see any purpose of going any D line positions for them. But I do wish that the Bills did go linebacker. I think that was the biggest need for them in the first round.
Honestly, I do think that they filled out some of those needs that we were talking about in the 2nd through the 5th round, including getting Osiris Torrens as a guard. I do like the Dorian Williams pick. He's one of my sleeper linebackers in this class. I really like that pick. Like, genuinely, I think it's a great one. They get a really athletic linebacker to fill the middle. Justin Shorter is good on the back end in round 5. I kind of like that pick. But overall, again, a B- draft. I don't know about going... It really depends on how that offense uses Dalton Kincaid. If he ends up becoming your slot, like a big slot 2nd tight end, which is what he's projected to be, and he ends up being really good at that, this gets a lot higher. But I just don't... Like, there were slot receivers on the board. If you were going to do that, you should have just taken a slot receiver.
I'm just not that high on him.
That's also true. I really liked a lot of... I think he was tight end 3 on my board. Maybe tight end 4. There were a couple guys that I thought were better.
And definitely, I think would have been there come later rounds.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, Darnell Washington was picked up in the 3rd or 4th round, I think. So
Right.
Let's move to the Broncos. This is a C- draft. I only really like the JL Skinner pick in the 6th round. I think he adds a lot to the back end of that defense. I really like big, athletic, strong-hitting safeties. You'll find that to be a theme throughout this video. Marvin Mims doesn't do anything for me. I like Drew Sanders, but I'm not big on Riley Moss, and Alex Forsyth is just eh. So it's a C- draft. I don't think they really addressed many needs that they could have addressed. I think they're not better today than they were at the beginning of the draft on Thursday. And that's really, I mean, that's all I really got to say about that one.
Thank you, Russell Wilson trade, for screwing with the Broncos franchise.
That definitely plays part, and I think in this lower grade too.
Like they gave up so much just to get a singular quarterback, which then they had to re-sign on a better contracted deal.
I mean, we're going to talk about the Browns in a minute, and they didn't have a 1st or a 2nd round pick, and I still think they had a wonderful draft. And I think this is a perfect segment here. I mean, I gave the Browns a B. I love Cedric Tillman and Saika Ika in the 3rd. DeJuan Jones and Isaiah McGuire in the 5th. Then you get DTR in the 6th, and everybody knows I literally am the biggest DTR fan of this entire class. And you get
simp for DTR, Jake.
What?
You simp for
I'm a stan, dude. I don't give a fuck. DTR is going to be the starting quarterback by week 12. Not really. Don't quote that.
I was like,
not really. Don't quote that.
That is going on TikTok.
Bro, don't take it out of context. I'm joking. Come on. No, and Luke Weipler in the 7th. I think they added a lot of talent to that Browns roster that needed an infusion of youth and an infusion of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, I just like everything they did. I thought they got great value everywhere they drafted.
The Browns filled in needs that they needed. As much as they only had to be able to pick by like the third round.
Mhm.
Yeah, third round, and I think they filled in the needs that they needed to as much as they could throughout this draft. I mean, yes, they weren't like stellar picks because they didn't have those high end draft picks, but they filled the needs that they needed to pickups.
No, absolutely. Excuse me while I eat right now.
Mhm.
We can move right to the Bucks. It's a C. It's a C minus for me, dog.
Yeah.
I hate the Kalijah Cansey pick because this is essentially Logan Hall 2.0. And the thing with Kalijah Cansey is you're gonna know right away whether you made a mistake or not, because you will know right away whether his arm length allows him to actually play D tackle in the NFL or it won't. You'll see it the first day of practice. You will know. The Cody Mock pick, I mean, he gives you tackle guard flexibility, which is fine. I wish they had added a true tackle.
Yeah, this is the guy. This is the guy that's transitioned from tight end to
Lineman,
guard. Well, to offensive lineman.
Yeah. Yaya Diaby, again, I could take it or leave it. A lot of guys that I watch that I think have really good analysis weren't as high on him either. I love the Cervasia Dennis pick. He is going to be a very, very good linebacker in the NFL, and if they're going to lose Devin White, like he has said he wants out, Cervasia Dennis is going to be a great filler. I like the Payne Durham pick because I think they needed a tight end. A lot of people have ignored that need for the Bucks for a long time for no reason. They've needed a tight end. I like Payne Durham. And I really like the Jose Ramirez pick in the 7th. I think he adds a lot to that edge rush. You might not get a lot out of him right away, but I think you will probably 2 or 3 years down the line.
I can agree. For the Payne Durham, I think having him kind of sit behind Jonnu for a couple weeks will help develop him a little bit more into the NFL, which is pretty decent for him because he actually gets a true blocking tight end and a bit of a receiving tight end in Jonnu Smith kind of teaching him. I
think Jonnu's in Atlanta.
No, I thought it was to the Bucks.
Jonnu's in Atlanta with Arthur
Atlanta.
Smith.
Is he to Atlanta?
Yeah.
Yeah, for a 7th
that's on
pick.
me.
Yeah,
Oh, never
we're
mind. I'll take everything back that I just said.
It's all good. No, I mean,
I thought
be
the
a
Bucks.
bum.
I thought the Bucks picked him up off the trade because they were looking for a tight end filler to help with them.
no, they have.
They have-
who do they
They
have
have
down
Kate
there?
Otten. They have Kate
Kate
Otten. And Kyle Rudolph was still there.
Yep.
Unless he retired
Yeah.
at the end of the season.
Let's move to the Colts solely because there's not much left to say about the Bucks draft. I don't think. I mean, it is what it
No,
is.
it's pretty simple.
I'm going to tell you right now, I absolutely loved the Colts draft. I gave it an A minus. I thought it was I thought they nailed it. The Anthony Richardson pick, again, my quarterback 3. I think they get the highest upside quarterback in the class. And even if Anthony Richardson starts day 1, he can turn around and hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. This is the perfect situation for Anthony Richardson to be in. I think Shane Steichen's offense is going to be wonderful for Anthony Richardson. You essentially take the Jalen Hurts offense and put Anthony Richardson into it, and all of a sudden you've got more big play ability than Jalen Hurts has, and about the same running ability, except Anthony Richardson is 40 pounds heavier and 4 inches taller.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I love the Julius Brents pick. They needed a corner. They got a really good one. Josh Downs in the 3rd is absolutely wonderful value. That's your T.Y. Hilton replacement. He goes to a team where he can automatically play the slot, make a lot of plays. The Adebawore pick in the 4th round I also think is absolutely wonderful value. I like their 5th round where they had 5 picks. I think they just got really good value there. Evan Hull at running back is a RB2 behind Jonathan Taylor's great. Jalen Jones in the 7th. There are people who had him mocked in the 3rd round. Getting him in the 7th is really wonderful. I loved everything they did. I really do. I don't know what else to say.
I was gonna say I love that Josh too because I think he can honestly compete for the 2nd wide receiver role with the Colts anyway. Because obviously Michael Pittman is going to be their wide receiver 1. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then they have Alec Pierce and Isaiah McKenzie. So
Yeah.
yeah, Isaiah McKenzie and Alec Pierce are good 2s and 3s, but I think Josh
Alec
Downs can
Pierce-
immediately become 2.
Alec Pierce will be the 2, as in he's the 2nd boundary wide receiver. Josh Downs is going to play primarily in the slot.
I was
Right.
gonna say is that Alec Pierce probably has been doing better on the outside, as like that boundary receiver, like you said. and I think he fits that role perfectly. I think Isaiah McKenzie's just there for depth on the roster. They had Paris Campbell, which they let him walk. He kind of played that outside boundary receiver that they needed. But I think Alec Pierce fills in that two position for being the outside, and then Josh Downs being that slot receiver that they need helps a lot. I think the Colts really did a great job here. Replacing Matt Ryan with Anthony Richardson is a big upgrade for them. You go from a limp arm noodle of a quarterback who had very bad, very washed up throws to a freaking rocket of an arm hitting the freaking ceiling at his training facility in Florida type quarterback. I think this is like a really good pick for them.
Also, the only thing I can say about this draft is the raw athletic scores average on this draft was through the fucking roof. I don't know if you guys know what raw athletic score is. Do you guys follow any of that?
I heard about this.
So there's a system, I forget who does it, but like they go in and grade the raw athletic scores of all the incoming NFL prospects. And I think the raw athletic score of the Colts draft, like the average was like an 8. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
They essentially just went like the Adebawore pick, the Anthony Richardson pick, Josh Downs, Julius Brandt, Jalen Jones. All of those dudes had like a 9.5 or higher. I think Richardson was a 9.99. But we can move to.
They basically said, we'll take every of the best athletic people you've got, and we believe that we can develop them.
Instead of best player available, they went best athlete available and just said we're gonna get more athletic. That's what they did.
Look, you can train athletes to play positions, and that's literally what they just said. Like, does not matter if you're an athlete, you can play. We'll just train you how to play it better.
Let's move on to the
Cardinals. Get that right.
No, we're good. Let's move on to the Cardinals real quick. Honestly, it's a B. I think they got better. I don't think there's anything to really say about it. I think I really like the move up to get Paris Johnson, trading back down to get more capital than moving back up. I like that. BJ Ojolari in the second round is good value. Garrett Williams and Michael Wilson. I really like Michael Wilson out of Stanford. That's a great pick for them. John Gaines, the guard out of UCLA, also fits a need. They got better on the offensive line to help protect Kyler when he comes back. They got Michael Wilson to help catch footballs when he gets back because obviously they're moving off D-Hop. The only round I really didn't like was their 5th. I don't like the Clayton Tune pick, and Popo just doesn't make sense to me. I think Dante Stills in the 6th is good value. So again, I think they got better. There's nothing much for me else. There's nothing else I really have to say about that.
I got nothing to say about it.
Oh, wonderful. We can move right to the Chargers, who I actually, again, really like their draft. Again, a B. Yeah. I really like the first 2 rounds. I love Quentin Johnson, who's my wide receiver 1. I think he adds a lot of playmaking ability to that receiver room. And I love the Tuipulotu pick. This is a very, very athletic edge rusher who I really liked coming into the draft. And I think he does wonders for the Chargers pass rush. The rest of it is what it is. Max Duggan in the 7th. I mean, you get a nice backup quarterback. You get a nice backup quarterback in the room. I think he's going to be a tough guy. He's going to be a leader in the locker room. I like that.
Wait. What do you mean backup? He's going to be replacing Justin Herbert, the fraud.
If I don't see that clipped on TikTok, I will actually sue you.
Yeah, and Justin Herbert's coming to the Patriots.
If I'm gonna get dragged for saying DTR's taking over for Deshaun Watson, you're getting dragged for the Max Duggan. I know you're joking, but now I'm coming.
Well, I do like the fact that the Chargers did get Max Duggan. You have his true wide receiver 1 that he played with in college. You have a new quarterback working with him. You have like someone who could tell Justin Herbert like, this is how Quentin Johnson likes to receive the ball, like with more touch, more speed on the ball, like a bullet, or more lobbed up in the air. Like you have someone who's thrown to him all season long. Now you finally get someone who can actually like help you with that in the back.
I'm being telling you, Max Duggan.
It's not gonna happen.
Kyle, shut
it's
up!
Not gonna happen.
You can't talk shit because you think Daniel Jones is worth $40 million. He's worth a used napkin and a bag of Cheetos.
But you signed him more than you signed your own running back who won you your games.
Yeah.
Besides
we did the
that,
right
let's
thing.
move to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
The Chiefs, I've got a D plus grade on, dude. I don't know what else to tell you. I
Yeah.
think they reached in the first 2 rounds. The rest of it was fine. I've seen other people give this draft a B because they had higher grades on Uzama and Rashee Rice. I did.
Yeah.
I think Rashee Rice was a 4th round wide receiver. I think Uzama was a 3rd round defensive end. You had other pass rushers on the board that I liked better, and you reached. I mean, are you better today than you were Thursday? I don't think so. Like, it's a D plus
But,
draft.
like, from what I've
But
been hearing,
also,
too,
at the end of the day, it's going to be Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and these dudes are somehow going to develop into the best players in the NFL. I don't know what to tell you.
But that was gonna be my point. Like, you still have
Yeah.
Travis Kelce, Pat Mahomes, and Andy Reid still sitting there. I mean, yes, the defense could really use the help right now, but I mean, like, it's Andy Reid. He just won the Super Bowl.
And because I
With
said that,
a-
Rashee Rice is going to go for like 1,207. So,
Yeah.
With what?
I mean, they made a watch Juju look worth $11 million, so I say so.
yeah.
I mean, again, you can disagree with me on that. I've got a D plus grade on it. I think other people have graded it a B plus, a B, whatever it is. I think it's a below average, close to bad draft, but you're getting the benefit of the doubt and you get a D plus. It's not a below average draft. It's slightly above below average.
I can agree to that. One.
The Commanders, I gave a C minus. I really liked most of what they did, but bro, you took Emmanuel Forbes when Christian Gonzalez was on the goddamn board.
I will say,
I absolutely hate that.
Emmanuel Forbes is going to be a really good corner. I don't know why they chose him over Gonzalez, but
Emmanuel Forbes is going to be a good football player. He's not going to be what Christian Gonzalez develops into.
You don't know that.
I do.
I will say. No, hold on. They could be just as good to like. They could
Fine,
be
they're
just
not.
as-
He's not as good of a prospect as Christian Gonzalez is right
That's fair. Okay, I will accept that one. That is a better wording, so I'll accept.
now. But that's really the only problem I have. I like the Ricky Stromberg pick. I love the Jartavius Martin pick. KJ Henry makes them better at wide receiver. I like most of what they did. The Emmanuel Forbes pick drops it down to a C minus for me.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, as much as what they're banking on next year though, with a quarterback that they want. I mean,
And I'll give them an A next year if they get Caleb Williams.
if they do, good for them. But what, they still have Wentz on contract.
Wentz is gone, I think. It's
Okay,
Sam
they really
Howell.
get-
It's Sam Howell and Jacoby Brissett over there.
Oh. Sorry. you said
So
Sam
I
Howell.
mean,
How's Howell?
in my opinion, if you're really gonna go for it and you're gonna bank on getting the number 1 overall pick in the draft, and you want Caleb Williams, you gotta either go.
I don't think they're
think
going
the Commanders.
to.
I was gonna say I don't think the Commanders are gonna be that bad. To be honest.
They have Ron
But
Rivera,
then you
who's
start Jacoby.
Ron
but then you start
Rivera's
Jacoby Brissett.
Ron Rivera's always in win now mode, and they're running with Sam Howell. From what I can understand, I don't know if that's going to last though.
I don't think
it will.
they'll
I
be that
Jacoby
bad.
Brissett. It's Jacoby Brissett. I think if Jacoby Brissett is looking like the hot hand in the preseason, you gotta roll with him if you're Ron Rivera. You can't, or else the fan base is gonna turn on you. Because if Sam Howell's looking like garbage, you gotta roll with the
The
guy
fan
that's
base
gonna-
already is turning on the franchise. Their franchise is awful.
Look, they
Yeah.
turned on him when Taylor Heineke got sat over Carson Wentz when they brought him in, and Taylor Heineke was looking pretty good after the last season. Before
They
that,
played for Taylor. They didn't play for Carson.
yeah.
Anyway,
That's a fact. I'm going to move on to the Cowboys draft, which I actually really liked. I gave him a B minus. I think Mozzie Smith is probably the most underrated pick in the first round. He fits that defense, and he's going to absolutely thrive in the Cowboys defense. Gives them a big guy in the middle, help them stop the run. I like the Luke Schoonmaker pick.
Goon.
I really like that pick. They needed a tight end after Dalton Schultz left, and I think Schoonmaker comes in, is probably very productive as a rookie. I think he probably starts as a rookie.
I think he's a plug and play. I am obviously
yeah.
really high on him, but that's.
I also-
Boys.
I also
Our Connecticut boys.
I also love this Deuce Vaughn pick. First
yeah.
and foremost, if you don't know the story, Deuce Vaughn's dad is a scout for the Cowboys, and he was the one who got to call his son and be like, "Hey, you want to come to work with me next year?" Which I think is awesome. It was great to see. Plus, Deuce Vaughn is a very, very good running back. I know that people were questioning why they took him if they have Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard's going to be the RB1. He'll go 1 through 3, and Deuce Vaughn will provide a scat back role in that third down set, where he'll come in maybe once every 3 third downs, make a pass catch. You could also, you could also use him in slot.
Yeah, people said the same thing about Tony Pollard when they had Zeke. So. You see how that worked out. We know how quickly you need to go through running backs anyways in the NFL. So.
Exactly. You just got to keep refreshing them. Speaking of refreshing running backs, let's move to the Dolphins because they added a burner in the third round, and I absolutely love this Devon Achane pick for the Dolphins. They're building a track team in Miami, and I don't know how anybody's actually going to be able to keep up with all the speed they have on the field. Between Waddle, Hill, and Achane, that's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, just force Tua to throw more than 20 yards. And
the Camps...
Devin Allen.
Yeah.
Devin Allen, that was on the...
Oh, there goes Kyle. No, he'll come back.
Kyle.
He'll come back.
Devin Allen.
Oh, I thought someone got kicked.
He didn't kick him. No, nobody kicked him. He just dropped. I'm sure it's his Wi-Fi thing.
I will say that there is an actual Olympic runner out there that played for the Eagles during the preseason in the name of Devin Allen, Olympic hurdler. I think if he went to the Eagles, you put him in the slot, you got another speedy deep threat guy there. Yeah, like you said, Jake, that'd be a full-on track team right there.
The Cam Smith pick, the Elijah Higgins, and the Ryan Hayes pick, I just really love this Devon Achane pick. They get a C+.
Yeah.
Cam Smith, he's corner, right?
Yeah. He's a big body corner. He kind of reminds me of J.C. Horn light.
I think they only chosen to kind of replace the fact that they kind of let Byron Jones cut Byron Jones from their team. So they kind of needed that because they have Ramsey, they got Howard, but they need that like third guy that would kind of fill in that role.
Kyle, bro, you good?
I don't know what was just happening. My Discord just decided to update in the middle of me using it. So
well, that's funny because I also can't see you right now. You're just doing the perennial circle thing. So
I'm on. I typed in the Discord website right now, so I don't know. I'm just here for a good time, not a long time.
Leave and come back when it updates. Leave and come back when it.
All right, sounds good. All right.
Yeah,
all right, buddy,
all right.
I mean, he's gonna be happy. He's gonna be happy because he's missing the Eagles conversation. I'm giving them an A for hitting the first 5 picks out of the park. I hate the Tanner McKee pick, but that's about it. Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith in the first round is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know how you get Nolan Smith at 30. Getting Tyler Steen and Sidney Brown in the third round, I absolutely love. I love Sidney Brown as a prospect. They added a lot to that back end of that defense. And they add Keely Ringo in the fourth, which I think is absolutely great value there. So I love their draft. It's an A for me.
Besides that, during the draft in the middle of it, after the first round, and with the Lions picking up their running back, we'll get when we get there. Getting DeAndre Swift off of the Lions.
Where'd Steve go? What is going on?
Alrighty, boys. Making it look like a whole entire Georgia team out here.
Absolutely
really
nuts.
starting to look is really nuts because that Georgia looking defense from their 2021 season or 2022 season when they won the national championship is starting to look like it's coming together right now. You got 2 interior defensive linemen in Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. You got Nolan Smith on the edge. You got Keely Ringo. You got Nakobe Dean on the interior linebacker. I really don't know why, but the Eagles are looking like the 2022 national champions. But whoever is letting this slide needs to rethink their franchise picks because nobody wants to see guys that already have chemistry together in college run it back again. Because I think the Eagles are gunning for a championship at this point after this draft.
Yeah, I mean, also the fact that they were able just to sneak in and grab arguably the best player in the entire draft. I mean, so many teams. It turns out it's possible to trade up in the draft to help yourself out, but no, No NFC East team really could have gone
That's
for it.
also
so-
why I hated the Bears draft, is because they traded back one, gave up Jalen Carter, and then took Darnell Wright. Like, that is
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
ridiculous to me.
Like, but also the fact that the Bears needed interior defensive lineman help, and they let Jalen Carter slide.
Arguably the
Like,
best player
that
in the
was-
draft. Arguably
They could
the
have just
best.
moved up. Just move up
They
one. Yeah,
I'm just
they
like,
got the
what?
draft capital for it.
Well, they had it. They had it.
Yeah,
And
they
then
had
when
the pick
Eagles
and moved
traded-
back with the
and
like
the
it was
Eagles-
stupid.
The Eagles picked it up, and they were just like,
He's back.
Jalen Carter,
I did
let's
it.
take it.
All right,
All
let's-
right, boys. Wait,
let's-
oh man, I missed the good one.
let's
I
move to
missed
the
team I
Falcons.
wanted to talk about.
Yeah, too
Damn
bad.
Wait,
it.
Kyle's back.
Ah.
Let's talk about the Falcons. It's a B. I like the fact that they added Bijan, but I don't think it was the most value they could have added. I like the Matthew
Not even
Bergeron pick in the
close.
second. I really like the Zach Harrison pick in the third. A lot of people don't have a high grade on Zach Harrison. I do. It's the height, weight, speed thing. I think he's like 6'5", 274, and he plays edge. He's ridiculous. And the Clark Phillips pick in the fourth round, when a lot of people had him going in the first or second, I think is great value. So it's a B. They got better. It's an above average draft.
Yep.
Let's move to the 49ers, which, again, might surprise you because I gave them a C+ grade. I think they did above average, given the fact that they didn't have a first or a second round pick, or a fourth for that matter. They had 3 picks in the third. I like the Jair Brown pick. I really like the Jake Moody pick, no matter what anybody says about kicker's value. I'm not loving the Cameron Letu pick there, but that's whatever. I like the D. Winters pick in the sixth. And honestly, they just had a decent draft. I really liked it for what they could get. So C+.
Yeah, I'll agree. Nothing really like big, nothing really too flashy. I think they kind of are riding off of what they have for an offense already and a defense what they have already. I mean, yes, they could have filled in the need for a couple more corners and safety help because of how low on depth they are and how talented those rooms are. Secondary is looking really in a bit of a shambles, but I think the 49ers did an okay job, like you said. Not much really they could have did after they traded away a lot of their draft capital for quarterback they don't know yet if he's going to be good or not in Trey Lance. But yeah, that's all I really have to say.
Listen, man, you've had 3 years to evaluate this quarterback. You know whether he's going to be good or not. The fact that he might open up on the depth chart as QB3 is ridiculous. Kyle, let's move to your Giants there, buddy. I give him a B+. I think it was a good draft. It was better than above average. I like the Deontay Banks pick. I think it fills a need. I love the John Michael Schmitz pick in round 2. I had them taking him in round 1. Getting him in round 2 was absolutely great for them. And I like Jalen Hyatt's fit and value in the third round. If they had taken him higher, it may not be as I may not have rated as high, but getting him in the third I think was great value. The rest of their draft was about average, but I'm giving them a B+ for knocking it out of the park for the first 3 rounds.
I love the Deontay Banks move. I saw that they had tried trading up for him because they thought either the Vikings or the Lions were going to take him. So I'm glad that they were still able to get him at their pick and didn't need to give up any assets for him. I thought that was great that they decided to just be patient and go with it. I love the John Michael Schmitz pick in the second. I think him being a great run blocker for our center position is going to be massive. I love Jalen Hyatt too. He was one of my 4 wide receivers I wanted the Giants to take, so I'm glad we ended up going with him. And I actually really like the Eric Gray draft pick too, because I think he's going to be a solid backup to Saquon. I don't think he's going to be the replacement for when Saquon eventually leaves, which I think it's kind of going to happen at this point, unless we can somehow get Saquon to come back to us. But I don't think Eric Gray will be like that replacement guy. I think he's just kind of going to be our nice little backup role,
That's fair.
which I'm okay with. I think it was a great draft for us. I'm happy with it.
I like that. I mean, I think I agree with your analysis again. I give it a B+. I think it was I would think it was up there with the best drafts in the entire NFL.
I like the
Go
now.
ahead.
I think one thing they should do, Kyle, is Now they
Swear
build
to
a
God,
pretty.
if you say anything about Daniel Jones, I'm booting you from this podcast.
So it's funny you say that. So I think what they should do is tank this year, get the number one overall pick, so they can get an actual real quarterback.
I'm not. I'm not doing that.
I'm moving to the Jaguars. Fuck both of
So
you.
that
Onto
then
the
they can
Jaguars.
spend the right amount of money for them and not overpay for some wet napkin. So I think that's why they should tank this year because they built.
I'm moving on to the
Now-
Jaguars.
Steve,
I
stop.
wanna talk about the Jaguars.
Let's
Daniel
move to the
Jones
Jags.
sucks. All right.
I gave the Jags a C. I like their first round pick. I like Anton Harrison. I think he fills an immediate need because of Cam Robinson's suspension. I hate their next two picks in Brenton Strange and Take Bigsby because they reached. It was an absolute reach. I do like their later rounds, the 5th and 6th round. I really do like. I love Yasir Abdullah as a prospect, Antonio Johnson as a prospect, another big, tall, athletic, hard-hitting safety. I like Parker Washington added to that receiving core that already has a lot of talent, but Parker Washington just makes it that much deeper in case somebody's gets injured. But those two picks, the second and third round picks, really drag this down. I give it a C.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't understand taking a running back when you've already got Travis Etienne, and Tank Bigsby doesn't give you anything that he doesn't have.
I think ETN's a little bit injury prone, a little bit, so maybe they're just setting it for a backup option. But that running back room has just been Travis Etienne and then other filler guys that were prospects that have done slim to nothing for them. So I'm wondering if Tank Bigsby was someone they had on their radar to kind of be a secondary option for them if, say, Travis Etienne goes out with the whole entire ACL injury. And I'm gonna knock on wood for that because I don't want to see that happen because he's a great running back. But I think Tank Bigsby's just someone that they feel like could be a replacement option if need be.
I still don't like it. It just doesn't. It doesn't bring any value to you, especially in the third round. I think you could have got him in the
I
fifth.
do think it was a reach. I do think it was a reach there. I think there were some other needs that they could have, but like getting him was definitely something on their radar. But I don't think taking him in the third was ideal.
That's fair. Excuse me. Let's move to the Jets. They actually did get a B- from me, even though I absolutely hated their first round pick.
Thank you, Belichick, for that.
Will McDonald doesn't give you anything that Bryce Huff doesn't, and he probably is your 5th rotational pass rusher. Why would you take him at 15 if you're the Jets? I like the Joe Tippmann pick in the second round. They needed interior offensive line. They also need tackle, and they decided to go with Will McDonald in the first round instead. I know that they already have 2 really good running backs, but this Israel Abenekanda, sorry, I always struggle pronouncing his name, pick in the 5th round, I love it. I think he's one of the best backs in this class. He's underrated, and honestly, he's going to produce at the NFL level. And their 7th round pick, I absolutely love. I had a low second, early third round grade on Zach Kuntz, and they picked him up in the 7th, and I almost guarantee you this man starts for them this year. I almost guarantee it. I'm going to let you guys talk about the Jets. I'll be right back.
I mean, I'm not too upset with the Jets picks. I mean, yes, Will McDonald probably wasn't the best option. I think the Jets picked way before that. Yeah, the Jets picked at
15.
15, and they could have gotten a Nolan Smith, in my opinion. I really think that was a bit of a reach for Will McDonald, which they could have probably picked, if they really wanted him, they could have picked up in a later round. I think there was a better chance for them also to grab a tackle at that spot. Actually, probably not, because Roderick Jones and Paris Johnson were picked a lot earlier. But I mean, I think they could have traded up. I mean, I don't know. There was options for the Jets to go and get a tackle if they need be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Will McDonald was not it. They also had an opportunity to get another better wide receiver in that draft.
I don't
picked
think they really
before.
need a wide receiver though, Andrew.
I mean, what? You got Garrett Wilson. That's it.
Well,
Who else you
they
got?
also got
You got Garrett
what's his face?
Wilson.
They just came over from Green Bay with him, with Rodgers.
Alan Lazar.
Yeah,
He's serviceable. He's serviceable. Garrett Wilson's your wide receiver one in that room.
My
Yeah.
I'm
lord.
telling you right now.
Yeah, I know.
He's wide
I
receiver
know.
one. But like,
I know
you
that's
have-
why you don't need a replacement.
you have nobody else. You really don't have anybody else. I really think they should have gone receiver. You picked before the Chargers, and you picked way before any of these other teams. You picked way before the Seahawks, Chargers, Ravens, and Vikings. You could have picked up another slot receiver or a wide receiver 2 option.
I
on
don't
the
know.
outside.
I don't necessarily disagree with Andrew. I think JSN would have been a much better pick than Will McDonald at that spot.
I think this is a great move by Belichick to have the Steelers move up, clearly take who the Jets wanted, and they had no backup plan, and so they freaked out and just went, we heard this name before, and just went for him. So thank you, Belichick, for that. That was beautiful.
Let's move on to the Lions, who
Yep.
I straight up gave an F. Let's talk about the fact
Such
that
a wasted opportunity.
they reached on the first 3 picks they had. They traded down from 6 to 12 just to pick a running back, where if they were at 6, they could have picked Bijan Robinson anyway, which would have been better than Jameer Gibbs. And you still would have been able to you still would have been able to pick up Jack Campbell at 18 had they stuck and just taken Bijan Robinson. And they reached on Sam Laporta. The only thing that is even remotely good about this draft is them adding Brian Branch. And don't get me wrong, I like Jack Campbell. I think he's going to produce at the NFL level. You could have gotten him in round 2 or 3. There's
You know who
not.
I think-
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know who you didn't mention, who I think could, in all seriousness, while we're talking about quarterbacks actually starting at some point in the near future, Hendon Hooker.
No.
I'm not saying this year. But eventually, Hendon Hooker, I think, will be there.
I also hate that pick. Not gonna
I
lie,
don't
I
like
hate
it.
that pick.
I
Um,
really
because-
don't like it.
You hate
Because-
Hendon Hooker.
I don't hate Hendon Hooker. He's a
You
20.
said you don't like him. You think he's bad.
I don't like him. He was my QB5.
Yeah.
That's why getting him in the 3rd round is good.
No, because there's a significant drop off, and I've told you that.
Yes, I know.
The
there's a
difference is the
drop-off.
Giants used the
Listen.
top pick for a bad quarterback. Come on.
He's a 25-year-old developmental quarterback who almost likely is never better than Jared Goff. And the only time he gets better than Jared Goff is after Jared Goff ages out at age 33, which is 4 or 5 years from now when Hendon Hooker is 30 and is past his prime anyway.
More or
Plus,
less,
you're just putting
Lions
yourself
had to
in.
trade off.
You're putting yourself in maybe playoff purgatory where you might be good enough to continue to get to the playoffs with the current team you've constructed, but you'll never be good enough to win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Not with Hendon Hooker, not with Jared Goff at quarterback.
that the first round pitch should have been more or less secondary help in the cornerback room, especially.
I don't hate
You-
the Jameer Gibbs pick though. Like, yeah,
I-
I hated
do.
it 12. I hated
I-
at 12.
Well,
Yeah.
12 is a little high for him.
Even at
I
18, I would hate that pick. It's
I-
about
I don't
positional
think-
value, Kyle. Like, I love Jack
No,
Campbell. I hate him at 18.
But if the team thinks they have their player, does it matter if they're?
Yes,
if
it
there's-
matters. Positional value
Why?
and value on the board matters.
Yeah, but if they have their guy, why not take him?
Because
when
they're
you
in
want
win
to
now
take him?
mode, and Jameer Gibbs may be
They're
slightly.
not in win now mode.
Yes, they are.
No,
they have
are
gotten
not
better
in
this
win now.
offseason. They are in win now mode.
they are
in a
not-
weak
they're
NFC,
not-
they are in win now mode.
They are not
Also with an
anywhere
aging
near
Jared Goff.
capable to win now. That
But
team
What are
is
you talking
not
about? The
ready.
NFC North is wide open right now.
It is not wide open.
Yes, it
Andrew.
is.
No,
It
it's not.
is.
The
Yes,
Vikings
it is.
are running away with that division.
The
and
Vikings
Bears
have
are
gotten
very
worse.
close
Their defense is
second.
garbage. And they're about like, what?
They also had 2 seasons where they had back-to-back seasons of, the most games decided by one score. The only difference is they won those games this year.
Kyle,
So
I'm curious.
the fact that they had so many games that were in a 50-50 toss-up, I mean, they could have even gone Jalen Carter at 6. I mean, that's a pretty damn good defensive help.
That would have
I
been
mean,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Kyle,
So
Yes, Austin.
are your Giants in win now mode?
No, I don't think they are.
not
I
even
think
they
they
wanted,
are.
not even they
Why
tried.
would they? What?
They're not. Andrew, we are missing so many pieces. I think last year was a fluke because we have a better coach. I don't think we're in win now mode, Andrew.
Well, it is in win now mode for you guys
we're
because you
not.
wouldn't have just signed Daniel Jones to that long of a contract.
Yeah, just because we think we found the team found its quarterback doesn't mean we're in win now mode. We still need pieces.
The Lions are in win now mode. Their team is good enough to win now.
Steven, stop it. No, the Giants are not in win now mode. They
I said
still
the Lions.
Need a number. No, I know, but I'm
Okay.
referring to Austin's question.
I was
we
just
still
curious 'cause-
need a number one wide receiver. We still need more linebacker help, which we didn't really address in this draft, but I don't think they really liked anyone positional value. We improved our offensive line significantly with John Michael Smith in there, but I still don't think we're in win now mode because the Eagles and Cowboys are both significantly better. We saw how badly the Eagles dismantled us in the postseason. The Eagles are so many steps ahead of us. Like the Giants were better this year than previous years because we actually have a head coach and coaching staff who actually fit in with our team, and we're actually able to bring out the best of the ability with this team. Are we in win now mode? No, this team is not good enough to win the Super Bowl, not by a long shot.
Win now mode doesn't mean you're winning the Super Bowl. It just means you're attempting to get to the playoffs and win. But
Good
Or
luck.
at least have a winning record that would look decent enough for you guys.
But-
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think other teams in the NFC also got better, let alone teams in their division got
Okay.
better.
Who else
Again.
got better?
Again,
Who else
to
got
the
better?
original point,
Bears?
to
Yeah,
the
the only
original
thing I wanted to
point,
say, Jake,
the
was-
Lions are in win now mode. Austin,
And-
go ahead.
So yeah, I just wanted to say I also think for that Sam Laporta, I don't like Sam Laporta that much. I think he was overrated coming into the draft, and for them to take him there with what's his name right behind him?
Michael Mayer was still on the board when
Thank
they made that
Michael
pick.
Mayer is there. He went the next pick, and they don't take him. I think that was dumb. I also think Luke Schoonmaker is arguably as good as Sam Laporta or better. I think he's actually one of the better tight ends in this class, starting day one at least. Now, I don't know if his ceiling is going to be quite as high, but he's actually a lot more athletic than people think he is. But he's a very solid, you're going to get that safety outlet. So they also
Yeah.
had him.
And again, at the end of the day, I think they reached on the first 3 picks. I don't like the Hendon Hooker pick for them. If this is a different team, Hendon Hooker might make a lot more sense. I don't think Hendon Hooker makes sense in their system, and I've told you why on multiple occasions.
Yeah, but I think the one thing that we're not considering with that Hendon Hooker is Jared Goff's contract situation. Jared Goff is only going to be in contract for 2 years. Hendon Hooker can easily take over in between then.
You're assuming that
Especially if
Hendon
an
Hooker
agent-
is actually a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, because I think he is.
You're also
There's a better-
undervaluing. I mean, you're also undervaluing Jared Goff as well. He did make it to a Pro
Yeah.
Bowl and a Super Bowl. So
And it was rumored that they were talking extensions earlier today. So,
yes,
I am underestimating Jared Goff. I do think he has the potential to prove me wrong, but at this moment in time, I still think Jared Goff is not the solution, and I think Hendon Hooker can be at least
I don't.
a mid-ground solution. I don't think he's like the number one answer. He's a little too old.
I think you're trying to replace Jared Goff with Jared Goff, but that's okay. Let's
I
move on to
wonder-
the Packers.
LOL.
I gave him a B. I think it was fine. Lucas Van Ness is it's not awful. It's not bad. I love what they did in the second and third round with Luke Musgrave, Jaden Reed, and Tucker Kraft. That's just adding weapons on weapons on weapons. I like Luke Musgrave and I like Tucker Kraft. Jaden Reed is a very undervalued wide receiver in this class who gets open, makes contested catches, and is going to be very good in that system. The Dontavian Wicks pick in the fifth round. I also think is a sleeper pick. I think he might produce right away. I hate the Sean Clifford pick, but that is what it is. It's a B. I like it. They added weapons for Jordan Love, and I love it. Also, fuck you, Aaron, is what the Packers said in this draft.
yep. And I love every bit of that.
Oh,
Oh, it's time to move to the Panthers. Yay, a good one.
Yep.
Panthers get a B plus from me. I like the fact that they went Bryce Young and immediately got him another wide receiver in Jonathan Mingo.
Mm-hmm.
Mingo, what's his name?
I am on record saying that Quentin Johnson and Jonathan Mingo are the only 2 X receivers in this class really that might produce at the next level. And I think getting Jonathan Mingo out there in Carolina only adds to Bryce Young's development. I love
There's
it.
one more, but we'll get to him.
It's a B plus from me.
I'm actually really upset that the Panthers got Jonathan Mingo because he was my number 1 wide receiver that I did want in the Giants. Mostly because I could chant Mingo was his name-o every single time he would catch a
And you would
touchdown.
actually get an X receiver
You know,
instead of a bunch of slot guys. But hey,
I think we're
Correct.
happy about that, Kyle. So that's okay.
I do like the Panthers.
I think for
draft
Riley
this
Sanders.
year, with fewer or less picks than most teams had, they answered their quarterback problem. They added a weapon for him to add on to Thielen being a veteran receiver that they can kind of help lead these guys.
and having DJ Chark there.
And having DJ Chark there also adds a serviceable receiver that they need. I've never seen DJ Chark actually like be considered a bad receiver at any point in his career. Yes, he's had some down games, but I mean, like, he's always been serviceable for any team he's been on. Look at him on the Jaguars. Look at him on the Lions. He's been serviceable. I think as much as the Panthers need more picks, they answered a lot of questions that was needed for them. They filled in some holes that they needed to. And honestly, the Panthers did pretty decent. I agree with your B+ rating for this draft for them.
I'm gonna move right into the Patriots here. I'm giving it an A. I'm giving it an A-. I'm not giving it an A. It is an A- because I think they had an absolutely amazing draft. Let's start with the first round with Christian Gonzalez. I think they absolutely stole him at 17. He was projected to go in the top 10. They traded back, acquired assets, and still got Christian Gonzalez, which I think
And
is an
screwed
absolute
over the
steal.
Jets.
And screwed over the Jets. Keon White in the second round, I could give or take. I don't necessarily love that pick. I'm not as high on Keon White as other edge rushers. But everybody's going to crucify me for this. I absolutely fucking love the Marte Mapu pick in the third round. When Daniel Jeremiah speaks, I normally listen, and Daniel Jeremiah called Marte Mapu his favorite player in this class. He absolutely loves him. And Daniel Jeremiah isn't wrong very often, so I'm going to go with the guy who knows what he's talking about, and I absolutely love that pick. I love the fact that they added interior offensive line at 3 different times. I like the Jake Andrews pick, I like the City Sao pick, and I like the Antonio Mafe pick. I think all of those guys could play at one point in this season as interior offensive line rotational pieces if somebody gets hurt. I think Jake Andrews is essentially David Andrews 2.0. I really like him. City Sao and Antonio Mafe are also very good interior offensive linemen who could develop and play almost by the end of the season if that is need be. Chad Ryland, I don't mind them getting a kicker. They need one. Nick Folk struggled last year. Getting one in the fourth after Jake Moody was taken, I don't mind it. A lot of people are pissed about taking a kicker in the fourth. If you can't get Jake Moody, you may as well go get the second best kicker. I'm fine with it. I really wish they would have taken Jake Moody, but I understand why they didn't, considering the 49ers took him in the third round.
Yep.
I love the Keyshawn Butte pick in the sixth because obviously you're getting a guy with a lot of potential who hasn't really produced. I think that's a good move by them. I like the Bryce Behringer pick because this dude's got a fucking boot and we need a punter.
Yes.
Sorry,
Go
Jake
ahead.
Bailey.
You
Go ahead,
and I have
Austin.
already talked about it. I just don't like it for where it is because the next punter isn't taken until after they picked again and took Demario Douglas.
I mean, yeah, you wanted them to take A.T. Perry there, and I get that.
Who I think is the other
X.
at that moment is the only other X receiver left fully on the board.
And I get that, I really do, but I don't mind. Like, after taking Keyshawn, I knew they weren't taking A.T. at that point, so I was kind of like, okay. But I do understand where you're coming from with that.
Well, if they didn't take another receiver, then I'm like, okay, they were never going to. It's the fact that they then take Demario Douglas later in that I'm like, okay, well, if you were going to get a second one, then go get A.T. Perry, who, if nothing else, is that late, more of a late flyer in the fact that he is that X receiver, at least by his traits, his size and everything like that, did produce pretty well at Wake Forest. I know that's not the SEC and things like that. Now, if it had been the SEC, I'd have been like, what are you doing? Go get that guy. But his stats in college are really good, and he's a big target. What is he, 6'4"?
He's 6'3", 6'3".
Okay, 6'2", 6'4", something like that. So the thing is, and he was good. It wasn't like he's just like a big receiver down there. He was good. You
and I have talked about this. We both really were high on A.T. Perry. I think Demario Douglas fits a very specific role they were looking to fill, and it isn't X receiver.
Which is, I think, a problem for us because we don't have X receivers.
I mean, you have Devontae Parker, which he is an X receiver. Like, he's not a great X receiver, but he is a serviceable X receiver.
But he's also old now.
Yeah, he's kind of old.
So
I
and,
mean-
and he's never healthy. So go get me that guy. I think here's the thing. I think Taekwon might be able to develop into that. We'll see.
Yeah.
I like him.
Mhm.
He has the size to do it, but I would have rather taken A.T. Perry. So you have the two of them. You have two options there.
Yeah.
You had Devontae to maybe help them, and then you have all your slot guys, and that's all we really have is slot guys.
I mean,
like
Kendrick
Juju.
Bourne can play the X or the F. He does it well.
Yeah.
He
But
does.
again,
Yeah.
I do see it, but also with the fact that both Kendrick and Devontae are on high-end contract deals, like they're above $5 million on the cap space. Maybe bringing in some younger guys with cheaper cap space might be the option that the Patriots want to go to kind of alleviate that pressure. Potentially, I think we might see a cut at the end of the season between either Devontae or Kendrick. Seeing how they perform during the preseason might be something that may happen, just because of the fact that they are cutting into a lot of the cap space. And if we wanted to alleviate pressure come next season, especially after signing Juju and his contract will be going up and taking more cap room, I think that might be the problem.
You
that
also
we'll
have
see
Juju.
down further. Right. We have Juju. Like, that's the other thing is, like, we have Juju. I'm not a big fan of Juju. I've already spoken my piece about him in our group chat. But I understand where the rest of you guys come from on where you stand on him. And I do see that as your takes, and I have my takes on him.
I don't love him for a couple of different reasons, but I think overall he's not.
He's serviceable. He is
he's
just
supposed to be the number
serviceable.
one for us, basically, unless Belichick
Right.
thinks something like Taekwon's going to be. And at this moment,
But,
or
like,
At this
healthy,
moment,
I think
you're
that's-
looking at a Juju, a Devontae, and a Kendrick Bourne 1 through slot, and then the two tight ends with Gesicki and Hunter Henry, which I
Right.
think is a fine set of weapons. I think it's
I don't
fine.
think it's bad. I think the problem is that you went out and got. I'd rather. I mean, we
Plus,
could
you have
had
Tyquan
Jacoby
Thornton to
just
rotate
stay.
in there.
Right, you could have had Jacoby just stay at that point, and I don't think Juju's going to come here and just be like, "Wow, okay, yeah, that's why we paid."
I
for
think
him.
Let me
Juju-
go off like a Tyreek Hill speed and go all the way downfield and have Mac Jones try to throw to me. Now, we're not going to get that type of stuff out of him.
I think
which
Juju
I
adds the
expect.
run after catch ability that Jacoby doesn't necessarily have. But
Yeah.
And that's fair.
again, this is a whole different conversation. It is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, I will say,
go ahead.
just looking at our second round pick, definitely could have been used for. I kind of was hoping for Hopkins to have been shopped, especially if we're giving up a second round pick, definitely to get to help
Deion
the Cardinals.
White is going to be very helpful for you.
I think he
What?
replaces Lawrence Guy.
He probably replaces Josh Uche, who's in a contract here, probably.
Yeah.
Potentially,
Oh yeah,
yes.
that's
I see
true.
that as well.
Uche's coming off a big season. He's gonna want. He's
With
gonna want
Lawrence
money,
Guy,
but-
you'd need a more nose tackle to replace him. But
And I'm okay.
they also have
with
They also have Barrymore.
Barmore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Barmore.
Yeah, and he's going to be a stud this year.
Yeah,
He's going to
absolutely.
he didn't take a sophomore jump last year, but looking at the end of last year where he looked unstoppable, I think I'm fine that we didn't go and get as much as I wanted like big things to happen.
Mm.
We don't know. We can all be honest. We don't know what Mac's going to be. Like he
Yeah.
looked good first year. He looked bad. Let's see if he does well. And I'm fine with him not going out and spending that because if you go get him or any other receiver like that, and then
Max sucks.
we find out Mac sucks.
Let's just say this. During undrafted free agency, they decided to sign Malik Cunningham, the understudy of Lamar Jackson.
I know.
from Louisville.
I
So-
know.
I fucking
so-
hate Malik Cunningham. I fucking hate Malik Cunningham. He can't throw. He throws worse than
Oh.
Kyle in a backyard.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
But
wait a second here.
I've heard a lot
I
of
just
people
wanna
that are different on that, Jake. but
I've heard 50,
Bro, watch the tape, dude.
Um,
Just watch the
I've
fucking
seen it. I'm
tape.
with you on some of it. Some of it I'm looking, I'm going, ooh,
I-
that's not good, but we'll see.
I do like the Isaiah Bolden pick though.
Mhm.
That's in the 7th round.
Yep.
Coming out of JSU. A lot of high praise coming off of him from Deion Sanders, his former head coach. I think getting a guy like this who had like a head coach in Deion Sanders means either there is a lot of potential upside for this player going into the draft and coming into this season for him. I think he's a very talented prospect, and I think there's a lot to come from Isaiah Bolden, and I really think he could step up into being in the rotational spots for our defensive corners position. Because I can also see Christian Gonzalez playing a safety role, an over-the-top safety role if need be. I know he's done it a couple times at Oregon, but I do definitely see that as a potential option for Christian Gonzalez as well.
I think he's slotted right into that boundary spot, but I get what you're saying. No, I mean, I'm ready to move on to the Raiders. I know that we've talked at length about the Patriots. Obviously, it's 5 of our favorite teams here, so that just naturally happens.
Sorry, Kyle.
But also, I really, really hate the Malik Cunningham signing. I know that he's in for practice squad and maybe a wide receiver change, but I just hate that signing. I hate Malik. I don't think he's not an NFL quarterback. Moving to the Raiders, I'm giving them a C+ solely because I really don't like the Tyree Wilson pick. I know a lot of people are higher on Tyree Wilson, and I think I'm going to get pushback on this. It's not because it's Tyree Wilson. It's because, again, I think they could have gone Jalen Carter, where they would have upgraded a lot more than Tyree Wilson on their edge, or a corner in Christian Gonzalez, where they would have upgraded more at corner than they did at their edge by taking Tyree Wilson. I'm also just not as high on Tyree Wilson as everybody else. If you can't produce in the Big 12, I mean, I'm not going to be very, very high on you as an edge rusher. I like their Michael Mayer pick. I think that adds a level to this offense that was going to be missing without Darren Waller. I think Michael Mayer is going to be very, very reliable for Jimmy G. I absolutely adore the Christopher Smith pick in the 5th round. I think he's going to be very, very good in the next level. I think he's very instinctive. He may not be the best athlete, but he knows the game of football. I really like that pick. And that's why they get a C+ from me. It's because I really don't love the Tyree Wilson pick, but I do like the rest of their draft.
I agree with you on the Tyree Wilson. I also think they could have gone offensive lineman as well. I think that offensive line is decent, but it needs a lot of help for it, especially on the tackle position. I think they could have gotten Skoronski. Who else was there?
Skoronski, Darnell Wright, and Broderick Jones were all on the board.
I really think they could have gone for any of those guys, and I think that would have been a big asset. I think Jimmy G is going to get hit a lot this season, especially in that AFC West. Good luck, Jimmy G. I hope you realize that Josh McDaniels and that whole entire Raiders franchise has no hope for you to survive.
Oh, man.
Yikes.
Yikes.
I think that Michael Mayer draft is actually a little underrated. I know a lot
100%.
A lot of people keep talking about Tyree Wilson, which is fair. He was their 1st round pick, but that Michael Mayer selection, I think he's going to do wonders.
He's essentially Jason Witten. Like, that's what he is.
He's a great blocking tight end.
And he's a really good possession receiver. I love it.
I think he'll be really good. I think Vegas is going to be happy with him. I'm kind of iffy on the Tyree selection, to be honest. Like, I like him fitting in with the Raiders, but I do think there were better people available. Like,
see, that's the thing. Like, I get it. You need an edge rusher opposite Max Crosby, but there were players on the board that you would have upgraded at position, like other positions.
I think they chose the wrong position to try and upgrade, to be honest. I agree with what Andrew was saying. Like, I think offensive line was kind of where they should be going. Like, I know Jimmy G is already injury prone as it is, and now you're throwing him in front of a line that
isn't very good.
It isn't going to be great. Like,
Plus, they don't have a really decent backup. They don't have a decent backup quarterback after him.
I think they drafted Aiden O'Connell. I think he's going to end up being their backup. Actually, their backup is Jarrett Stidham.
Jarrett Stidham got signed by the Broncos.
Stidham left?
Yeah.
Okay, then it is. I think then it's Aiden O'Connell.
No, it is Brian Hoyer.
Bro, they really are New Englandies, bro.
Oh, God.
Who's our backup? Oh, Zappy.
Zappy, and now Malik Cunningham is a
no.
Oh no, McSorley, and then Cunningham.
If Malik Cunningham plays and starts an NFL game for the New England Patriots this year, it will be the saddest day of my life.
He goes off for 6 touchdowns.
Jake's like, I'm trading in and I'm turning into a Ravens fan right now.
Bro, I'd be watching the game sitting there like actually holding back tears of sadness. We can move to the Ravens.
Great draft.
I fucking love it. It is an A. Draft. It is one of very few teams that got an A from me. Zay Flowers, I think, fits them perfectly with Rashad Bateman and OBJ there. I think Zay slides right into their slot and becomes a very, very productive receiver for them right away. Trenton Simpson in the 3rd, I think, is great value. You're getting genuinely, you're getting an athlete that you can just mold into a really great linebacker. And Patrick Queen, they didn't pick up his fifth-year option from what I understand, so getting Trenton Simpson to replace him is actually kind of a very good fit. I love the Caillou Blue Kelly pick, and I really love the Andrew Voorhees pick in the 7th. I think you're going to get a guy in Andrew Voorhees who will start for you at some point in his career. And with barring injuries, he's probably a 2nd or 3rd round pick. So,
Bro, I was actually just about to say that about Andrew Voorhees. I'm mad that you know so much about college players that you can actually say this shit. Because I'm like, I know so much random stuff about college players, but you know like more than me, and it's annoying sometimes.
I do kind of wish they went with more of like a replacement for Justin Houston, who's aging. They have a lot of outside linebackers who are old up in the age, and especially on their right side, which they tend to have like Justin Houston and all of them kind of play. And I think they could have found an upgrade in this draft process, but I don't think they saw that yet. Hopefully they can mold like Trenton Simpson to kind of fill into that spot. Maybe he can play that and also be an off the ball pest for them as well. So like he could be like a versatile linebacker for them. Or they go out and trade for Isaiah Simmons, knowing them they probably will, and that would be the ideal look for.
Listen, if they somehow pull off a trade for Isaiah Simmons, I really like the Ravens again to win the AFC North. But let's move on to the Saints. Again, the Ravens had an incredible draft. Sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
I was good. Did we skip the Rams?
I don't think so. Did we? Did I accidentally skip the Rams?
Yeah.
There are no Rams.
Where'd they go?
Oh,
Ruh-roh.
there we go, Kyle.
Ruh-roh. Did somebody delete the Rams? Because I did them. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I'll pull it up on ESPN and I'll give it a grade right now. I really can do that.
Yeah.
While he's pulling that up, I'm gonna give him a C.
I don't think that's true. I think they did much better than a C.
All right.
I will give it to you in a minute. Just give me 1 second.
Alright.
Sounds like you're guessing, Kyle.
I'm not. The only thing I really like about this is Stetson Bennett. I'm gonna go out and buy a Stetson Bennett jersey.
Of course you are. I don't know how I even. I don't know. I don't think I missed them, but I probably did at this point.
Well, they didn't have any first round, second round.
They
picks.
moved up to the 2nd round. I love the
they
Steve
did.
Avila pick. The Byron Young pick out of Tennessee. That dude's going to be a monster. I love that pick. I do like the Stetson Bennett pick. Nick Hampton's going to be an absolute animal. I don't care what anybody says. I like Warren McClendon out of Georgia. Puka Nacua out of BYU is going to produce. They got Tre'Davious Hodgins-Tomlinson in the 6th round. They got Zach Evans in the 6th round. They're going to get a B from me because I think it was an absolutely good draft and they got absolute value for where they picked.
Zach Evans is also actually a really good pick. So
yeah, I'm going to give them B. I think it's a solid draft. I think they are better today than they were last Thursday, especially with the lack of picks they had, or lack of top end picks.
Especially with Stetson Bennett, future Hall of Famer.
No.
I like Stetson Bennett. I like
Hooker.
Stetson Bennett for them, but no.
It's literally a Hendon Hooker situation. He's
Okay.
gonna sit
No. Stetson Bennett is better than Hendon Hooker.
I apologize for that, by the way. We should have had that.
Are you apologizing for me?
No,
No,
to
no,
the
no.
not having the Rams on here. That is
I mean,
quite.
good for the Rams for actually having draft capital too.
They moved the board a lot. They were all over the trading around the board. It was actually kind of masterful. I really
It
enjoyed
was
it.
after the Jalen Ramsey trade. They made some acquisitions from the Dolphins. Then they traded around and made some more picks happen. And the Allen Robinson trade to the Steelers helped alleviate some more picks for them. They really just were offloading some of the big cap spaces that they had, and we're just like, here we go, let's get some more rookies in, let's get some young guys, let's go for it.
We've got about 6 teams left, so we should probably try to speed this up a little bit. But with the Saints, I'm giving them a C-. I don't love the Brissy or Isaiah Foskey picks. I think they could have gone other places and gotten better value. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with the Brissy pick. I'm not that high. I don't think he was a first-round talent. Kendre Miller in the 3rd is a really good pick. I like Jake Haener, so as a backup quarterback, I love that. They also picked up A.T. Perry in the 6th, which I think saves their draft because that is genuinely, there's a reason he fell to the 6th round, but I genuinely think A.T. Perry can produce in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a C- for me. I like the back end of their draft. I really don't love the first 2 rounds, though.
I do like Brissy, though.
I know you do.
I understand that he's not a pure like first round talent, but they're pretty much in the second round anyway where they're drafting. So like,
I mean, don't get me wrong, they got better, but that's because I don't necessarily love the Saints as a football team. But it's a C minus because I think they reached and did some things that I wouldn't have. I love the Kendre Miller pick, love it.
Kendrick Miller is I think going to be their starter in a couple years.
Yeah,
Not right away because they still have Kamara obviously, and they just signed Jamal Williams. But I think Kendrick Miller can definitely be a star running back in this league.
he'll produce. He will.
Yeah.
Let's move to the Seahawks. I gave him a B plus. Devon Witherspoon and Jack Smith and Jigba, great picks. I think that's a great first round. I don't necessarily love the Derek Hall pick in the second, but that is a classic Pete Carroll Seahawk pick. Zach Charbonnet in the second kind of confuses me because you have Kenneth Walker already. It's already come out that they're going to compete for touches, which is fine. But I just don't think you needed another running back. I think you could have added one later that would be a rotational back for you that would have complemented better. But that's fine.
I think it might be to save him on injury.
Yeah. I mean, I get, don't get me wrong, I get it, but I just don't love the value there.
Zach Charbonnet pick is really strange.
It's a strange pick. I like the Anthony Bradford and the Oluwatimi picks. I think they upgraded their offensive line. Oluwatimi can be a starting center from day one, even if he was picked in the 5th round. I think he's going to be good for them if he does get thrown into the games. And I mean, there's nothing else to say. There's a B plus. They hit it out of the park in the 1st round. It's a good draft.
Devin Witherspoon, yeah, great pick.
I was going to say, if Devin Witherspoon fell any further, he would have landed right in the laps of the Lions, and I think the Lions would have taken him. But I think the Lions did what they had to do, and I don't think they liked it. But the Seahawks taking Devin Witherspoon as another guy with Greek Woolen in that secondary, and then getting Jackson Smith and Jigba, you're giving Geno Smith options. Yeah. Literal options to throw to now, and this guy is just going to go off.
Listen, JSN in the slot is going to be an absolute monster.
You got Metcalf at the 1. You got Lockett all the way on the outside as well. It's just with Fant as well, and then you got Kenneth Walker in the backfield. Like, you got options for Geno Smith to make this next 3 years.
You can throw Zach Charbonnet into that mix too. I mean, Zach Charbonnet's not a pass catcher, but he's a really good running back. Again, I mean, they got better, which is why I give it a B+. The Zach Charbonnet pick kind of head scratches to me because they have Kenneth Walker, but I guess add talent and just keep adding talent.
Yeah.
Moving to the Steelers, I mean, 4 of the last 6 teams that we do, I actually really love their draft, and the Steelers are no exception there. I'm giving them an A-. I think the Project Jones pick is good, solid, fills the need. I absolutely adore the Joey Porter Jr. pick in the first pick of the 2nd round because people had you taking him at 17 and you got him at 33. I absolutely love the Darnell Washington pick in the 3rd round. That's ridiculous. I like the Nick Herbig pick. They got better. I love everything they did here. They got a lot of value. Great draft by the Steelers.
Their first 4 rounds were incredible. Roger Jones, I really love, especially the fact that they needed a better offensive line. It was an aging offensive line. They had a couple young guys surrounding it, but it was getting up there in age. Joey Porter is a steal. The fact that he fell out of the 1st round and into the 2nd at the start of the 2nd just is incredible. To the fact that he's also now playing where his father played. So that's a big thing. Darnell Washington, you add him with what's his face over in Steelers, so that they're tight end 1.
Pat Freiermuth. Massachusetts.
I mean, you've got 2 tight ends, a blocking tight end especially. Najee Harris is getting an extra blocker in front of him.
They did a lot. They essentially I love it. I'm gonna move right into the Texans because this is one of the very few teams I gave a straight up A to, tied for best draft in the entire NFL. CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, fucking love it. I love being aggressive and moving up from 12 to 3 to go get Will Anderson. You've got 2 cornerstone pieces on your offense. The Juice Scruggs picks I liked. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was out of this world, but I think that's a good, you go get your center. Absolutely adore that. Love the Tank Dell pick. Absolutely love it. He's gonna produce right away in your system. Him, John Mechie, who's coming back from his unfortunate incident, and Who else are their wide receivers? I don't know, but
Nico Collins.
and Robert Woods.
Yeah, I'm taking Tank Dell and John Mechie over both of those dudes.
I'm taking Nico Collins over Robert Woods.
Oh, all of them
Yeah,
over Robert Trees
yeah.
right now. I love the
How do
Henry
you
To'oTo'o.
say
Sorry, go ahead, Justin.
Toto. I was about to say, how
To'oTo'o.
the hell do you pronounce his name?
Henry To'oTo'o in the 5th round is absolute steal value for you. I think he's going to thrive into Miko Ryan's defense. I love the Xavier Hutchinson pick, who, like A.T. Perry, I think is going to be a good X in the league. He's going to be a very great late-round pickup. And honestly, I think they did everything right. I love it.
I loved it. I loved how aggressive they were in the first round, especially getting CJ Stroud. They got their starting quarterback. They faked everyone out saying, we're not going to go for a quarterback. We believe in our system. And then literally stealing CJ Stroud out from underneath everyone. And then trading up and getting a guy that they needed on their outside edge in Will Anderson to bolster that defense. I really think the Texans played aggressive in that first round to get the 2 guys that they believe would be the future leaders of their team. And then adding a guy that CJ Stroud liked in the combine and Tank Dell. Like, you got to go for someone that CJ Stroud likes.
Mm-hmm.
And that fit perfectly into their system.
I like it. We can move on to the Titans. I think it's a B-plus draft. I like getting Skoronski. I like getting Will Levis in the 2nd round. I love Tyjae Spears. He's one of my favorite players in this class. Running back out of Tulane. Great player. I love Josh Wiley in the 5th. I think he's going to be a very productive tight end in the league. Jalen Duncan in the 6th, again, I think is just great value. Adding another tackle to that mix who has guard flexibility like Skoronski. And, I mean, again, I thought it was really, really good. They got great value, and they were great value in positions of need, so I like it.
The Will Levis pick actually kind of surprises me.
Why?
I know they're not high on Malik Willis, but I think they're not even giving him a real good chance.
I mean, they've been linked to Will Levis since the start of the draft process. It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
I like the fact that the Titans went and got him. But I think with still Tannehill on contract, Willis is serviceable as a backup to option. I think they should have ran with those 2 guys for another year.
I will not be surprised if Will Levis is starting by like week 6.
If that is the case, good for him. Being a Connecticut boy, I love the fact that he's getting his opportunity. I just kind of wish, because I actually predicted him to fall into the lap in the 2nd round, into the Rams' lap to add that depth for a quarterback that they needed. And for the Rams, which I would have loved for them to get. But I understand why the Titans wanted him. He's just another big arm quarterback that they would want. Fills the need of when Tannehill decides to call quits or by end of his contract leaves. But I really could have thought the Titans could have waited until next year to pick up a better quarterback. I think Will Levis is serviceable, but I don't think he's that standoutish guy that will lead them to be the best team in the AFC South.
That's fair. I'm going to move right into the Vikings. I mean, last team we have to cover. It's a B-. I like the fact they added Jordan Addison. I think they should have added a corner earlier. I think they should have been more aggressive in going and getting a corner. But they obviously needed a wide receiver too. That was a need. And I like the fact that they picked Jordan Addison. I think he fits right into the system. The reason this gets a B- instead of like a C or a C+ is because I absolutely love the Dwayne McBride pick. In the 7th round, again, another guy who I think is going to be a productive running back in the league, getting picked up late. And I like it. It's a B-.
The thing that I disagree with here is I don't disagree with you. I disagree with like what they did. Like I think they should have gone corner first over Jordan Addison. Like they obviously needed a 2nd wide receiver, but I think they could have gotten like a similar role in a later round. But as for a top corner, which they do need, I think
Deontay Banks was right there.
Joey Porter was there.
Joey Porter was there.
But Deontay Banks was there. Joey Porter was there. They were slightly after the Patriots, right? They were 17.
No, they were 23.
23.
Oh,
so but if they wanted to, they could have even traded.
22. You're right.
They could have even traded up slightly before to get Christian Gonzalez. Like they had options to get corner, And I think that would have been more beneficial. Not that, like, I don't hate the Jordan Addison pick. Like, I think he's going to be super beneficial for the team, and he's going to be valuable right away. He's going to be a starter. I just think corner would have been better. Andrew, I think you should go because this is your second favorite team. So.
I like the fact that they went Jordan Addison. I look at the NFC North. The only team that has a decently strong secondary is the Packers. And when you look at all the other teams in the NFC North, they're still young guys that are still developing. Like the Lions have options to be strong secondaries to kind of shut down like the Vikings offensive passing game. But I think they wanted to add like that second receiver that could be explosive, like Justin Jefferson, and kind of just like explode off so that they can kind of get that offense rolling and just keep that pace moving, keep it fast pace, score, let the defense kind of hold for a little bit, score, let the defense kind of hold for a little bit and just keep scoring. That's why we saw like that Colts Vikings games last season where it was such a high scoring game because they just kept fast paced and just kept it going. But I mean, I understand like I said, the NFC North is wide open. I think every team in the NFC North is looking to win it right now. In the fact that Bears upgraded, Vikings upgraded on offense a little bit more to replace that Thielen loss. Packers are looking to kind of just survive right now. The Lions are in a do-must-win situation where they need to win it out to be able to be contention.
I also think the Lions have significantly gotten better in the back half of their defense. So
I do agree. Yeah. I do agree. And I do think that, yes, they are still young guys and they still need some time. But, like, you're not going to be able to match up against a guy like Justin Jefferson unless, like, you have, like, Jair Alexander who actually shut him down for a little bit in that last game. But, I mean, it's just, like, adding a guy like Jordan Addison is very beneficial to them, but I do wish the Vikings did go corner and got like a guy like Joey Porter or Deontay Banks just to kind of solidify that backfield because I don't think that secondary is going to do much against these other teams, especially now that the Bears have DJ Moore.
Yeah. Well, that concludes the NFL draft grades for all 32 teams. Let us know what you disagree with. Let us know what you agreed with. If we did a good job, leave a like on the video, hit the subscribe button, and you know what I'm about to say. Go make sure you follow us on all our social medias: High School Backups, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, as Kyle has referenced in multiple times this episode. I swear to God, if you do not clip the Max Duggan will start over Justin Herbert clip and put it on TikTok and only clip the DTR joke, I will actually yell at you. I will know. I will figure it out. But I'm not.
You don't have a TikTok. You won't.
My fiance does, and she follows the channel, and I will know.
Hey, I do too, and I'll video record it, I'll screen record it, and I'll send it.
I have friends, Kyle. But on that note, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.